Welcome back. Hello. This is eRacing GP Global Edition 8. My name's Alex Young, and with me,
Mama Afiq.
hey, Afiq. So, we've had a whole bunch of great, exciting races. We saw a copper class, bronze class, and now we got silver and gold. We combined silver and gold in Global Edition 8. This is, of course, our 8th running of it, and that is coming up next. We are at round 3 of 4, and if you want to see what happened at round 2, here are the highlights.
Onboard with Axel. This is a good onboard. This is almost very retro-like. Remember the days of Senna here? As we're underway. And looks as though he's got a good start. He's got a jump on Inigo. And Axel, I think, will get a horse shot coming through turn 1. Yes, he does. He gets the jump on his Filipino teammate from the Esports Championship for Southeast Asia. As further behind, there's a couple of cars going off. But let's not mind that. We had to look up in front. Nocom then leads away, but Inigo fights back. Alex, that was a good start from Nocom.
Ooh, what a great start. Goes around the outside of that corner. Fantastic.
Does he make it? Does he make it through Stowe? Oh, well, yes, he does. He's side by side, but Axel hangs it around the outside. What a brave move there from the young Filipino and holds on to the lead.
Wow, fantastic battle on the opening laps of this race. Oh, and Axel looks to the outside and sweeps around the outside. Inigo got pinched at the apex, and what a great job by the 12-year-old.
It's a class battle there.
Nocom goes wide, allows Anton to slip through, and now Anton is back into the lead as they go through Maggots and Beckett's.
In the championship, but coming out of the final corner now is Inigo Anton, who takes the win here in gold, and a brilliant win after the initial fighting with Axel Nocom. And we are out. That's a green light. So everyone's underway. And on board with Inigo, look at the way he punches through the grid. He is now up to second, coming up to turn 1. Would you believe it? What a start. And Axel Nocom follows suit. We're now watching Son Edu. Edu is now going to be swamped by these two. Inigo then, side by side with him coming through Maggots and Beckett's. The easiest maneuver you'll ever think of, as Inigo now storms to the lead. Axel Nocom then watching brief. Whether or not he wants to actually attack, it's up to him. He's got a few seconds to spare in front of him. But Inigo then with a brilliant start in this first lap, Alex.
Axel Nocom has got to the front. Inigo Anton must have made a mistake somewhere.
Oh, that's a surprise.
Wow, side by side. I think Anton went the wrong way. He should have gone to the left, I think. But he went to the right. But now he's going to the right, and he makes a move. Oh! Nocom's gone off. Yeah, absolutely. Gary Lynn, there he is in P2. The Australian will be really pleased with that. I don't think he's finished on the podium before in eRacing GP. This could be the first time for him.
First time on the podium, and even first time with a win too. So Inigo then has to watch his mirrors because he's coming up fast, and I think Inigo might have had damage. He actually has damage. Look at that, the suspension that has actually been damaged slightly. He's crabbing, and Gary takes the lead of the race. Here we go then. Inigo side by side coming through Maggots and Beckett's. Inigo takes back the lead of the race. Anton first, second Gary, and third is Nocom. What a battle for the lead here in gold. He'll get to emulate the likes of Nakib and Alif Hamilton, who have won a double here in the championship. As he comes across the line now, Inigo Anton wins in gold class race 2. Axel Nocom with a very close second place.
Okay, and here are the driver standings after round 3 of 4. This is actually the silver class, and you can see Nicol Sage there is leading that championship. Don't forget there are 2 classes in this race. Silver class, Alan Drake Cruz in second, Aldo Ray Balogun in third, Roy Siu in fourth, and Harris Shaimi from Malaysia in fifth. This is the gold class now, and gold class we just saw the highlights for. Inigo Anton still leads that championship by quite a bit, actually. Axel Nocom in second, Muhammad Alif in third, who missed round 2 but is back here now for round 3. Sonido in fourth, and Alistair Young in fifth. On to the team standing. Stratus Motorsport winning by quite a bit right now from the Academy and Team Racing line in third, FSA Racing in fourth, and Z Challenger Racing from Hong Kong in P5. And in the Nations Cup, Malaysia leading quite comfortably now from Singapore, Philippines, Hong Kong, and Australia. Okay, that's the highlights done. We got 5 minutes of practice left before we start our qualifying for gold and silver. Let's go have a look at some on-track action right now. And you can see some of the drivers out there. We're riding on board with Muhammad Alif right now. He's a bit of a legend, this guy. He missed round 2 because he was in Australia. He was actually in Malaysia doing some go-kart testing, some real-life testing. But he's back for round 3 now today, and he's a legend. He's still, he was just texting us that he's trying to watch Formula 1 qualifying and practice for the race now, but he's definitely got his eyes just on practice right now. Alif has won 3 global editions. He won the first 3 global editions. And arguably, in my opinion at least, probably the best sim racer in Southeast Asia. Would you say so?
I would say so. You got the likes of Nakib, Andika, and Dylan Tan to name a few, but Alif has been proven to be one of the quickest in all the sims that he raced in.
Yeah.
Race Room, iRacing, Assetto Corsa Competizione, R Factor 2, where he finished P4 in the Virtual Le Mans this year,
Yeah.
with Nakib, Inigo Anton, and
Yeah.
Josh Perwian.
Yeah, that's a good example, man. I mean, he's so versatile across so many different championships, which is always a mark of a good driver. You know, those drivers can jump into all the different sims. They understand what they're doing. They understand that craft. So you know, if they get into a real car, they can be just as quick. Yeah, I think you got, like you mentioned, some of the new up-and-coming drivers, Nakib and Dylan, but they haven't been around long enough, have they? Whereas Alif has been winning consistently for what, good 8 years?
Alif has been one of the old dogs in the Southeast Asian region, alongside Andika. But Alif is still young.
Yeah, he's only 22.
He's only 22.
Yeah. So yeah, still, he's not even reaching his prime, if you ask me.
Yep.
So he's out there doing a good job. Who is out there right now? Paul Fastinos from Philippines. Good to see him back. He's up in P2. Unfortunately, Inigo Anton and Axel Nockham are both doing real-life racing this weekend, so they won't be with us. But in this championship, we do have drop points from round 1. So Inigo and Axel will be dropping points from this round, and they'll be back for the final round 4 next weekend. Ooh, look who's just gone quickest. Son Idu's just gone quickest, a 28.2. What tyre is he on? He's on the medium tyre. Tyre wear's quite high today, ×3. So I think the medium tyre will be the good race tyre.
I think it is. I think it will probably just take it to hard if you tend to overcook your tires a lot more compared to all your other races. I will stick it into hard because I can go slow at the start there, but when it matters, especially in the last 7 minutes, I can go all out, whereas all the other drivers will have their tires cooked.
Yeah, that is a good point. Okay, then Son Idu then trying around in the medium tires. I think most of the pro guys, the gold guys, are using the medium tires for race pace. As for the GP2 cars in the silver category, there we have Harris Shami out there. They're on the hard tire with ×3 tire, where they're telling me they can only use the hard tire for these 15-minute races. That will make it very tricky. Obviously, they go to softs for qualifying. 2 classes, let's not forget, we've got the gold class in the 90s style Formula 1 cars, like we're seeing here in Son Yidu. And then, of course, in the silver class, we have these old GP2 style cars. What are they, about 5 seconds, 3-4 seconds off the pace of the gold guys. So 2 different classes. Harris there, he missed round 1, but he had a pretty good round 2, and he's still in the hunt for the championship as well, isn't he?
Yeah, drop points are being considered in this championship. That's the beauty of eRacing GP, where Endurance Edition, Global Edition, we have a drop point system. So if you miss round 1, if you miss one round, that won't be a problem. That round will be dropped. However, if you miss the other one, then that round won't count.
Yeah, you'll make it difficult for yourself then if you have 2 bad rounds in such a short championship. Let's see who else is out there. Nikhil Sage, he's leading the silver class right now. He's in the pit lane, so he's obviously happy with how much practice he's done. Michael Farrens, another driver, an American based in China. Shanghai, isn't he? Yeah, so it's great to see him there, and his internet seems to be quite good, and we actually have him on Zoom as well. So his Zoom seems to be working quite well. There he is. You can see him there in the inset, looking very calm and collected. He's just done a 33. This is a Ferrari-style car, isn't it? It's probably a V12.
Probably a V12.
We have different cars here as well. We've got the V8s, V10s, V12s. V12s have got 5 kilos of ballast, or roughly the same. Sounds like a V12, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like a V12, but I like the sounding engine of a V10.
You do? I love it.
It's screaming.
I love the V12s. I remember the Ferraris and the Hondas in the 90s with the V12s. Oh, they sounded so good. Was it Honda? No, it was the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini had the V12. Oh, that was quite nice.
The Ford as well.
Yep. Nikhil Sage right now. There he is, out in his GP2 car. He is our championship leader. He's only 12. The French-Malaysian driver, only 12 years old. He's not won a championship yet in eRacing GP. Could this be the time?
Maybe. It might be the day for Nico Sage to actually get a win.
Okay, let's ride on board with him right now. There is Nico. Oh, that's not Nico. He's just chilling right now. He's so calm. He's even going to... Oh, there he is. Now he's starting. Now he's starting a lap. We have to go on board with him, and maybe we'll do a lap of Portimao so we can talk a bit about the track and how it is. It is 4.5 kilometers long, and you love it because of the elevation changes, don't you?
It's a lot like Genting Highlands. That's the thing. That's the thing about Portimao. One of the only places in Europe where, apart from Spa, you have a lot of elevation changes. As we can see in negotiation, crossing the line, coming down the hill into turn 1, a fast right-hander. You drop 2 gears into 4th gear from 6th. Another one you take in 5th as it downshifts there into the 2nd gear, which is turn 3 called Lagos. Then you flat your throttle through turn 4. Oops, a little bit oversteered there by Nico Sage. Probably hasn't put any heat into those tires there. And you brake hard after the 100-meter board for turn 5.
Yeah. Turn 4 is definitely not flat in these cars. Through turn 5 hairpin. This will be a corner 4 overtaking as well during the race. 6 and 7, look at the elevation changes. Actually, a lot of tracks in Europe have quite big elevation changes, but this one is quite severe with that plateau across the start-finish straight through Sector 2. As he comes through Sector 2, will he go purple? Yes, he's purple to Sector 2 and looking quite good as he goes into the third and last sector.
Yep, turn last sector indeed, and down the hill again, exiting turn 11 and flat out through turn 12 before you brake hard coming to turn 13. Have to hug the apex and the curb on the inside to minimize the error and have a good line coming to Sagres, which is turn 14. And turn 14 is where you'll make or break your lap, because if you misjudge the racing line exiting turn 14, then you will compromise the line coming to turn 15, and turn 15, after turn 15 is the start finish straight as Nico Sage crosses the line now. Where will he be?
Okay, so there he is. He's quickest of all. He's pole for silver class, P3 overall, but he's pole for silver class. He'll be quite happy with that, though. There were a couple small mistakes, so I know he'll think he can improve. Pole for gold, though, is Muhammad Alif there, the Singaporean, with a great job to go 1.5 seconds quicker than Sono Idu. So just showing his class at the moment as he's gone quickest. Obviously, the task for him today is to try and win both races. I mean, the field, you're a bit short of entries for gold today, but he has to make hay while the sun shines, because Inigo Anton's not here, Axel Norcom's not here. If he can win both races, that'll put him right back into the fight for the championship.
And one more person that you're missing out is his little brother Taspi.
Yes, Tasbi's not here. He's not here today either. But so that makes his job a lot easier.
Yep, indeed. Alif though, 1/10 up. See, the thing about Alif is that I like about him is that he'll carry the momentum, and once he sets a lap, he knows where to improve it right away. Look at that, 3/10 up in sector 2. This is going to be a mighty lap by Muhammad Alif. Will we see a 25 in the server? Probably.
Let's have a look right now. Yeah, I think this could be on for a 25 for sure. Couple corners to go. So only real corners. One more corner here to go. After this, out of turn 14, then turn 15. Looks nice and neat, nice and calm. Sliding the car a little bit through the corners, which you kind of need with this car, because there's so much understeer. You want to just get the car to rotate around. Yeah, it looks nice and calm. Easy pole position for Alif as he goes quickest. And there you go, 25.4.
Impressive. Very impressive by Alif.
Yep, Sunny Edu there in second position. So he comes across the line to start his lap. He's got one more lap to go. Paul Faustino in third. There he goes. Going through the order right now. Nico Sage there. He looks to hold on for pole position, and he's actually going to improve his time even more. He's going to go from a 29.9, and he goes across the line, and that's it. He improves to 29.9. That's pole position for him. Alan Drake Cruz just within a tenth of him in P2, and Harris Zephi there in P3 right now as he comes across the line to start his last lap as well. So all these drivers got one more lap before the end of qualifying to try and improve and maybe snatch that pole position.
I would like to point out, Alex, the combined age of the two leading cars in silver has a combined age of 16.
16. Wow, that's nice to see how young they all are.
And they're giving these elder gentlemen a run for their money. Nico Sage and Alan Drake Cruz is a few people that you can't mess around with. They may be small, but they're quick. There's the beauty of it.
Absolutely. P3 though right now in gold class. Paul Faustino looks like he's improving his lap, so that's good. These cars though, I mean, the traction is really difficult. How tough is it to drive these cars?
I've driven one of these Formula 90s car in race room, even though I'm not a race room advocate. These cars are difficult to drive because they're very torquey, they're very oversteery, and they tend to snap very easily compared to other cars. So these drivers are one of the skilled drivers in Southeast Asia, has the ability to control a Leaf. To look at a 25.4. Didn't improve his lap time, but has a 2-second gap to the guy in P2, which is Son Edu. So there you go, qualifying done and dusted.
That's right, and there you can see the Leaf there in first, Edu in second, Faustino in third, Sage leading the silver class, followed by Drake Cruz and Harris Shami as well. Okay. So, qualifying done and dusted. The race 1 and race 2 coming up. Race 1, of course, is a straight off 15-minute race. Race 2 is then going to be a reverse grid race of race 1, and that'll be quite interesting. Let's just have a look at the track while we wait for the grid to line up. And you can see right now, the Portimao track, all those elevation changes we talked about, 15 corners. Sector 1 is the red, Sector 2 is blue, and the last sector is in yellow. And you can see that all the different corners there. Look out for overtaking spots. Turn 3 is good. Turn 5 is also a good place. You can overtake around the outside into turn 8, interestingly enough. And of course, that last sector with the big elevation changes is important too, because you get a good exit out of 14, you can carry the speed all the way through 15 and down the start-finish straight. We do have another commentator with us. My name's Alex Young, and with me is Mohammed Afiq in the studio. But over on Discord, we have Amo as well. So let's just chat to Amo, see if we can get him on board as we get back into the server. Amo, what do you think is going to happen later? Amo, are you there? No, we've lost him.
We've lost Amo Haziq.
Okay, so what do you think is going to happen later?
Alif is going to pull away with the lead, win the race, win race 1, win race 2, even though there's a reverse grid in place for race 2. Like I said, like I mentioned just now, Alif Hamilton, the likes of Leif Hamilton, Andika Ramamalana, Nakib Azlan, Dylan Tan, to name a few, are one of the fastest drivers I've raced against in Southeast Asia. And I have the privilege racing against them because they're very quick. And you get to learn a lot being behind them, but not only that, you can't keep up to them, no matter how quick you are, because they'll just pull away.
What are you saying?
I'm just saying that they're quick.
All right, okay, so we're back in the server right now. We're going to miss just the start of the race. Let's go back into the race now. Okay, Amo, can we hear you? I think I can hear you now.
Is it on?
Yeah, we can hear you. Were you muted,
Okay, so
were you? All right, so we got kicked out of the server for the start of the race, so we're just going to miss the start of the race as we watch the cars teleport back into it. Can tell you, though, that Muhammad Ali, although we can't see the car, is leading this race by quite a bit.
He's rather camouflaged right now with the asphalt of the circuit and the runoff area. Now we can see him. And for those who are confused on why he's the only car on the circuit, you have to wait until all the cars are loaded. So you might see only one car right now, but all 19 drivers who are in this race are in the circuit right now. So they're present. There you go. There's Sonny Do. That looks like Sonny Do in third place behind Alistair.
So Alistair Young with a great start. He did not have a good qualifying there, but somehow he's up to P2. Wow, because he qualified like 10th, I think. I don't think he put a lap down in qualifying, so be up to P2 is a good job.
Yep, and Haris F3, who started P3 in the silver class, is now down to P18 overall. He must have had a poor start there, and maybe might have gotten collected by some other drivers.
Okay, now let's go look at Silver. Silver, Nico Sage leading. But he's only got a small lead from Alan Drake Cruz. This is the battle that we need to focus on right now. This is for the Silver Championship right now. Drake Cruz is up there in that championship. They run in the same livery car, which slightly annoying because it's hard to tell the difference. And they've pulled out a bit of a gap with Darren Ivan there in third position in the Silver class. But look at that. He's fighting quite hard there with Shafiq Zulkainan as well. Oh, gets the exit out of that corner. Yeah, and he's got it sideways with Zulkainan. Zulkainan, they're right all over the back of him. Looking to the outside. Oh, trying to come back to the inside. Nice switcheroo. Has the inside for the next corner. But yes, Darren Ivan holds around the outside, and he's got the inside for this next left-hander.
And Darren returning to the championship after quite a few seasons away. He was runner-up in season 6 behind, I think it wasn't Calvin Power. I think it was one of the, Jun Chenung, yeah, teammate to Haris Zefi. So really then, oh, that's quite a return to the championship. And unfortunately, he has knocked out someone to the barrier. That's Oliver Bitzmir. So the Swiss, well, not Swiss driver, the German driver has been knocked into the wall and lost his front wing.
Oh, shame for Bitzmir there. He's going to have to come in and change that wing. And yeah, that's bad. He's not going to recover from that.
Yep, missing front wing there by Oliver Bertzmeyer. A little bit unfortunate there for him, though. He got collected by a few cars just now coming into turn 12.
Yeah, he was with Darren Ivan and Mohamed Zikri in that particular battle. And look, he's coming to the pits, and another driver is coming to the pits as well. It looks like I think that might be Darren Ivan also coming in for damage. Can't see right now. Where is it? No, it's actually Raymond Aguiar. So Aguiar has come to the pits with him. So he's been in the wars in the first few corners.
Yep, there they are repairing the cars. Back on track action though. Nico Sage there just still leading from Drake Cruz. I just wonder, can Drake Cruz get to the back of him?
Looks like it, Emo, doesn't it?
A bit of a tough one to call, because remember, despite these cars having the GP2 shape, these cars are the ones without DRS. So the only way to get up to the back of somebody is to really push it hard and try to claw back the deficit. But with tires that deg quite severely, they might just have to be conservative in the first few laps. You might see Cruz try to push towards the end of the race, but at the moment at least, the ball is in Nico Sage's court.
Indeed it is, and Nico Sage still putting away the gap between him and Alan Drake Cruz now is down to 1.3, has increased to 1.3 seconds, 1.6 seconds is the gap between Nico Sage and Alan Drake Cruz, and Shari Zulkai 9 there.
Darren Ivan there, P7. So he's still out there. No damage though.
Yeah, no damage to the car, even though it was quite a major collision, if we're honest, actually. And look at that, he's struggling through the final corner in turn 15. It might just be aerodynamic damage. And look, in turn comes into the pits, bang on cue, cuts across the white line. And Alex did mention earlier that you should not cut that white line in real life because it will get a penalty. But I think he could get away with that in the virtual world, as Sonido now cuts his way through the silver traffic. Not a good start for the Os NZ driver, but at least now he's cleared a couple of the Formula 2 cars. Oh, he runs a bit wide. But Darren Ivan there, I think because of the big collision, has resulted in him coming to the pits. So that's quite a shame for him on his return to the series.
Saw him do that, making his way back up after not a good first lap, and he overtakes Mohamed Zikri right now. Zikri, though, has Balaglulan all over the back of him right now and has to be careful about that.
Yeah, his championship in this one, at least minus the one in bronze, as he is fighting for that one. He did tell me before that he wanted to aim for the double, but unfortunately he cannot replicate what Freddie Spencer did in the MotoGP World Championship back in the 80s, where he won the 250 and 500cc classes in 1 year. So he could just settle for at least a top 5 finish, but looks like he's got a mountain of work to do here with very fast drivers in silver.
Yeah, he does. Balagulan was just hunting him down, isn't he? He's looking to try and find a way. Can he? I thought for a second he was going to try down the inside. Ends up having to bail out of that and loses a bit of time with Zikri. But at the moment, Balagulan looks like he's got the pace that if he can just get past Zikri, he should be able to pull away.
Indeed, and he also has to do it organically. We're using the slipstream and try to actually just muscle his way through to turn 1. Can he do it this time? He's got the slipstream coming up the crest, over the hill, and onto the start-finish line. It looks as though he's got it, actually. He's got the draft, but unfortunately, Zikri dives onto the inside. That makes it difficult for Balagulan. He tries to do a switchback. Zikri runs wide and gets him. So Balagulan then up to P4 in the silver race. Good maneuver there from the Filipino.
Yeah, really good maneuver there. And then Zikri gets a slow-down penalty for going off track as well. So that means Balagulan now has a chance to just try and increase that lead. Sun Edu, though, who's ahead of this guy, has gone off. Something's happened to him, and he's just trying to get back on the track. So that's not a good job. That's unfortunate for Sun Edu.
I think that might have been a puncture for him, because it looks as though he's got a slight puncture. So, well, he's back. There he is. He's back onto the back of these guys. But that's a weird mistake, though. The car literally slowed onto the gravel. He might have been distracted as well, for good measure. But whatever it is, looks like the car is in good condition, it's healthy, so he's gonna fight now with Michael Ferrens for the middle part of the top 5. In fact, he's in 5th, Ferrens is in 4th. This is going to be a cracking battle between these two.
Oof, interesting line he's choosing there. Let's go back to the front though. And there we go, Muhammad Ali from Singapore, Team Flash, winning this race quite comfortably. Has a nice big margin with halfway to go over Alistair Young in P2, Black Arts Racing. And of course in P3 you've got Paul Faustino there recovering after that bad first lap and trying to get back up towards the front.
Indeed, and it's still quite surprising to see that the gold guys are actually behind the silver guys by virtue of the fact that the Formula 90 cars just seem to be more susceptible to damage compared to the Formula 2 cars. Yes, the Formula 2 cars, if you just get a wing onto the back of a tyre, it does cause a puncture, but it seems as though the suspension geometry on those cars, the FR90s, are just much more flimsy, and you can see why if the car's completely damaged, it's just you had to go into the pits. But having said that, sorry Alex, having said that though, we did see a couple of Formula 2 cars pit in after the end of the first lap.
Yep, I think they've gotten damaged, those Formula 2 cars. Oh, Nico Sage there almost loses it coming into turn 8. This is what I was talking about though. You have the tendency to lose the rear. And what does that mean to Nico Sage? Alan Drake Cruz looks like he's driving down the inside coming to turn 10 of Nico Sage. Championship leaders fighting it out in race 1 of Global Edition Season 8 between gold and silver there. Oh, look at that, Nico Sage diving down the inside. Still stays ahead of Alan Drake Cruz though. Alan Drake Cruz not giving an inch to Nico Sage though, Amo.
Well, Nico Sage likewise not giving an inch to his best friend as well, because both of these guys also kart in real life and they race each other a lot in sim racing. So I think friendship will be put aside for this one if the battle for the win is up for grabs. And Nico Sage though defending with all his might to prevent Alan Drake Cruz from overtaking after a slight mistake there from Nico in the previous lap. And look at that, the amount of slipstream that Cruz got to the back of him. He might try one on the outside, but it looks as though nothing to it there. He might have to just get himself back up because he knows full well opportunity has just presented itself.
Okay, well, Nico Sage looks very calm in the inset. That looks calm and collected. But for Drake Cruz needs to get the win here. He needs to try and put a dent into the championship lead of Nico Sage, because Nico Sage has quite a big lead, almost what's that, 25 points, a bit more, over Drake Cruz. So Drake Cruz does have to try and beat him.
27 points to be exact coming into this race. So really the deficit for Cruz, it looks as though it might be a bridge too far for him to gain back there. But never say never. We've seen just now in bronze how the championship leaders faltered when they needed to have the best performance the most. And it could happen here. Well, having said that, Cruz just goes a bit wide coming out of turn 11. And that would just give the advantage back to Nico Sage here. About 1.5 seconds between them.
Indeed it will, and look at that, Alan Drake Cruz has, after that mistake running wide though coming into turn 10, the gap between him and Nico Sage is now up to 1.7 seconds. Nico Sage though sitting comfortably in the Formula 2 car. Same goes to AR Muhammad Ali, who's sitting very comfortably in the FR90 Gold Class car. And I think it's going to be an easy win for both of them.
Well, you say easy win, but we saw just now how Nico, the unflappable Nico, has actually made a mistake slightly coming out of turn 11, and that came a cropper for Calvin Parr as well for a second. But Calvin actually managed to recover and win that. Nico, on the other hand, he's leading the race. So if any mistakes were to happen, it would be detrimental for him because he will lose completely the advantage that he had.
Indeed, it will. And I'm just looking down on all the other races. So Paul Faustino down into P3 in the gold category, and Sun Idu, who had a lot of issues just now in the early part of the race, down to P4. And Michael Ferrens, the guy, the American racing in Shanghai, is down to P5. Sun Idu though is trying to find a way past Muhammad Zikri, Aldo Balagulan, and only Muhammad Zikri and Aldo Balagulan. These two are not fighting for him in the championship. They are fighting for overall though, but it's going to be a little bit annoying for Sun Idu.
It's kind of like the GT4 battle that we had when we're in GT3 trying to overtake GT4s in Barcelona. It's just that a bit difficult to overtake when the cars are in the way. It's even more so when you take into account that these Formula 2 cars are no slouches. They can actually be quite fast through the mid part of the corner, because look at this. The entry speed and the exit speed is just about the same. yes, the FR90 has the legs up on the FR2, but this is certainly no GT4. He's gonna have to overtake him with power on the straights.
And they have the same amount of downforce, don't they? The FR2 cars compared to the FR90s. Roughly the same.
Maybe, but we will have to take into aerodynamic coefficients into account, because the fact that by this time F1 cars are aerodynamic. Yes, you can see the Y246 contrails or vortices on the side of the wings, but not it is actually more than the FR2 cars. So really, if you're saying about aerodynamics, these cars are more aerodynamic than the FR2 cars, but it's just that the way that the cars are designed is not as efficient as compared to the more modern Formula 2 cars. So that's why through the corners, it's quite a handful for the FR90s to get through. But on the straights, because they have about, 60 extra plus horsepower, especially when you're in the V12 car, they can power their way through. But it seems to be not the case for likes of Faustino, who's just about got through on Balagulan, but still far away from Cruz. And now will we see him backing off? Nah, I don't think so, because despite having a 23-second gap, he is backing off slightly though, because at the start lap it was 24 seconds, now it's less than 22. So I think Alif's just backing off slightly just to conserve his tires to get it all the way to the end of the race. There we go. He's crossed the line. This is the final lap of the race.
Final lap for him. Let's go back there to Nico Sage just now in Silver Class. He is leading Silver Class, and he's got a nice handy lead over Drake Cruz right now. With just a little bit more than a lap to go, this should be quite comfortable for him.
Indeed, apart from that slight scare where he had a bit of a moment coming out of turn 11, it seems that Nico's got this race pretty much covered. And unless, of course, that car right behind that looks like it is Faustino. Faustino has actually gotten by Cruz. So if Faustino were to actually, just nudge, wink, wink, help out his fellow countrymen slightly by distracting Nico, I don't see Nico losing this race at all.
No, he won't. Back at the front, though, there is Muhammad Alif. Half a lap to go. And this race win will be his. Amel still has to say that he's going to be favourite, isn't he, for the race too? With only 5 cars in gold at the moment, it'll be hard to beat him, won't it? His pace advantage is such.
Yeah, but Alistair will be starting in front of him, so I think Alistair might just give his chief rival in this class a run for his money, but it looks as though Alif may just be unprecedentedly away from the rest of the field in front, as he is doing now in race 2. So coming up through turn 15, across the crest, and to the start-finish line here, checkered flag will be waving, and Alif takes a win for the first time this season in the Gold Championship. What a win for the Singaporean, unchallenged up in front, and superbly handled there to win the race ahead of Alistair Young by more than 24 seconds, Alex.
Yeah, no, good win there. That's an interesting line. I wonder if there's track limits there. Maybe not. But yes, Alistair takes second. Paul Faustino will then come home in P3. And of course, winner for the silver class, Nico Sage there, looking quite comfortable indeed.
And troubled by the gold class car behind, which is Paul Faustino. He'll be on the podium in 3rd place, but nothing will disrupt Nico Sage from taking yet another win. That will be his 3rd win of the season. In fact, 4th win of the season after losing out to 3rd win of the season after losing out to Aldo Balagulan at one point. But now across the line, he will take victory here in Portimao, and that's a dominant victory, more than 3 seconds ahead of Alan Drake Cruz there in 2nd place, and 3rd place further behind will be Chok Long Lee, who will take a podium here in the silver class. So that's it. That's all the drivers in the top 3 podiums for both classes crossing the line. And hopefully, Alex, I think we might have a podium on the cards. Interview on the cards.
No interview at the moment. Can't get him. Actually, let's see if we can try and get to Nico Sage right now, because Nico Sage with a good win there. Nico, can you hear us?
Nico.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done. Congratulations. You had a good battle there with Alan Drake Cruz. You want to talk us through your win?
The beginning was interesting because I didn't have that good of a start. And then Alan overtook me, and then I overtook him back. So basically, out of the 1 second range, there's basically no slipstream. Right. So I went outside of that 1 second. But after I did a mistake, so basically I lost time. And then he was right behind me. But after he did a mistake, so I pulled away at the end.
Okay.
And it was a good race.
Good. Great to have you back on board. So you're winning the championship now. Got a reverse grid race now. You're just going to stay out of trouble, or are you going to go for the win?
I'm probably going to go for the win.
That's what we like to hear. Okay, good luck. Get ready for race 2.
Thank you.
You might say that's quite a redundant answer because, of course, when he is this fired up and he is in the form of his life with 3 victories in this season, you might say that he just wants to get another one just for the sake of it.
Yeah, well, that's good seeing that he's attacking, doesn't he? He wants that he has that hunger. He'll start P10 in silver class, so he has got to survive the first few laps. We've seen that these cars are a bit fragile and if you have too much contact. So the last thing Nico wants to do is obviously get that contact, lose the front wing, shall we say, and compromise the second race.
Indeed. Now then, we're going to grid up soon. We see one car in the pavilion. That looks like Alistair's car, so Alistair may not make it for this race in time. Oh, that's a disaster then. If that is... No, Alistair's made it onto the grid, but we're about to go underway here for race 2. Lights on the gantry then, and we are going to get underway now. There we go. At the front of the grid, Michael Farrens. Beside him is Son Idu. But it looks as though both front runners have actually not had a good start because Alif has punched his way through to the front of the field and takes it through turn 1. Alistair then also nearly going through there, coming out to 3rd place. But it's Alif from 5th place on the grid in gold class has taken the lead as Alistair gets a big whack from Son Idu. We're seeing Paul Faustini right now. And Michael Farrens went off the track in turn 3. But it looks as though apart from a few argy-bargy moments, oh no, spoken too soon again. Farrens has actually spun into the crowd and amazingly didn't get collected by anybody. But looks at the side of the front of the grid. Alif has made the start that he wanted and he will take yet another double, it seems.
Yeah, it'll be hard to beat that. But Sherry Sukailan, the leading silver class, had a great start, good first few corners. So he's leading the silver class and he's 4th overall. So good for that. In 2nd position in silver class, Abdul Yazid Razak there in 2nd position. And Raymond Aguilar in 3rd position.
And Aguiar in his typical, almost customary position in this round, at least because he was in 2nd and 3rd when he was in bronze, and you can see that he's up to 2nd now because Yazid Raza just went off. So Aguiar in almost a customary 2nd.
Let's have a look and see what's happening. Nico Sage had a mistake, not just off track. We didn't quite see what happened. Maybe he spun and he's recovering. Hopefully that car's in one piece though.
I think so. He might just have a bit of a scare in between, plus the tires are a bit dirty. But apart from that, it looks as though physically the car's fine as we look at the battle for P6 between Aldo Balagulin and Nazir Azman. And Nazir also has Abdul Yazid Razak for company up in front. So it's a 3-way battle here for 5th place as the cars fan out coming to turn 1. We see a car further behind, a bit crabby there. That looks like Chiu Long Li as Balagulin takes 1 position away from Nazir Azman, and Nazir made a mistake there. He wears Sonko or Kopia for good measure because he's fasting as well. Gonna go do praise tonight as the car spins. That looks like Aldo Balagulin. Balagulin's actually dropped it coming out to turn 3, and Nazir laughing there to the bank. He's got a free position there from spins, but it looks as though silver class is a bit more dicey compared to gold.
Indeed, it does. And look at that. I'm sorry though, Sherry Zogana leads the way at Raymond Agia in P2. Mohammad Zikri though in P3. It's very interesting. The Mohammad Zikri had a poor start there in race 1 and now up to P3 in the class. Sharik Zulkarnain now leading the way, and the gap between him and Raymond Agia is now down to 2.8 seconds in the timetable. Oliver Bursmeyer though in P3 who had a much better race 2 compared to race 1, and
yeah, indeed. He actually was knocked out by Darren Ivan Rajan in that race 1, which contributed to him losing his front wing and subsequently had to retire from the race. So, apart from that one, we're seeing the leader in overall and in the gold class, AR Muhammad Alif, away by 5 seconds ahead of Alistair Young. So, Alistair then managed to actually just sneak his way up to 2nd place from the start, but it looks as though he has no answer to the pace that Ali's setting out in front. Meanwhile, 5th place overall and 1st place in silver is Sharik Zulkarnain, who's looking for back-to-back race 2 wins, but in different classes. Remember, he won race 2 in that dramatic race in bronze, where he pipped it, he didn't pip it across the line, but he managed to pip to the front of the grid and managed to hold on to it to the very last lap of the race and kept it there. So he's looking as though he might be able to get 2 consecutive wins, but in different classes, which is amazing if you think about it.
indeed it does. It's very interesting. Sharik Zulkarnain, he's one of the few rookies here in the Toyota Racing Gazoo program. racing not only in the real world but also the virtual world. So you got the likes of his FSA Racing teammates, Hamdani also racing in the Gazoo Racing junior program, and you got Nabil Azlan, who's not racing in season 8 of Global Edition, though.
Unfortunately, we saw the best of him in season 6, where he gave his brother a run for his money in the Group C cars, but unfortunately Nakib got the better of him that time. And likewise, Alif as well got the better of Tasbi in the first few rounds of the season. We saw in Sepang how it was a bit fanned out with that particular battle. The only other driver to actually match them was Inigo Anton, who also is unfortunately absent because, like the real world example that you're putting there, Afiq, doing some real world racing for this one as well. So really then, real world commitments are coming back to the fore after a couple of years that it was being sidelined due to the pandemic, but now is in full swing again, and looks as though we can expect more real-world drivers coming in pretty soon.
Yep.
Okay, let's look at the on-screen action right now. Alistair Young there in second position has Son Edu all over the back of him, as this is the battle for second position in Go Class.
Oh, Edu runs a bit wide there. Nearly came into the back of him, and Alistair was fully aware. You can see that his eyes are constantly shifting, looking left, right, and center. Where in the world is that guy in third place? Nearly went to the back of him. So luckily for Edu, he had enough space coming into turn 5 to just avoid that. But that's a wake-up call for Alistair, isn't it, Afiq?
Yeah, it is a wake-up call for Alistair. Sun Edu, the gap was 0.3 of a second and now up to 0.9 of a second because of, Sun Edu like missing his braking point coming to turn 5 there. But, still 9.5 minutes to go. Sun Edu has an ample time to catch Alistair Young. Alif, though, on the other hand, sitting comfortably in the lead of the Gold Class.
Doing something that, unfortunately, Lewis Hamilton, for at least because of course he's a big fan of Lewis Hamilton, he's doing what Lewis cannot do this season, and that's leading a race.
Indeed, he is. And at the moment, sorry, I'm just looking at the F1 timetable. The Hamilton fan, Leafs Hamilton fan, in P5 at the F1 qualifying will go back to the race. Though Alistair still in P2. Sun Edu, the gap between him and Alistair is now up to 1.2 seconds. So probably Sun Edu might have overcooked his tires there a little bit. That's why he's backing off. Oh no, the gap has gone down a bit, Emma.
Indeed, it has gone back to now just under a second. And if there's DRS here, and unfortunately for these guys, will not have the luxury of that to do so because they're in Formula 90 cars. There was no such thing as DRS back then. Likewise for the FR2 car, Sharik Zulkan 9 leading the race, going a bit wide. And it looks as though he's having a nice Saturday afternoon drive with a 3-second gap ahead of Raymond Aguiar. So really then, he could just take his foot off the gas slightly, conserve his tires and go all the way to the end of the race with just 8 minutes left to go. Meanwhile, P4, Nico Sage, great recovery from him. He was at the tail end of that silver class train. Now he's on the cusp of a podium here. He could still catch up to Oliver Betzmere, but he's got 5.8 seconds to gain there, Afiq.
Yeah, and the gap between him and Oliver Betzmere, as you said, is 5.6 seconds. A little bit further back, not sure if Nico Sage can close the gap to Oliver, though Oliver doesn't look like he can close the gap to Raymond Aguilar either. Sharik Zulkarnain is sitting comfortably in the lead in the silver class, which is quite refreshing. Like you mentioned, Amo, he is very quick, Sharik Zulkarnain. As right on board Raymond Aguilar, a little bit of a power steer there coming out of turn 13 into turn 14. And what is he doing? He looks like he's cooking up his rear tires, Amo.
I think it's just the nature of the way that these Formula 2 cars are driving, because look at this. You had to saw your way through the wheel, through the corners, not through the fast bits because you can't just have minimal input, but through the slow corners, because of the amount of torque power that has been put onto the road, you're gonna have to saw your way through the wheel just to keep the car under control,
Sharik Zulkarnain in the pits.
Oh, now that's a surprise that we did not expect. That might just be because of how much he's used up his tires, I think, or he could have a slow puncture. That would be a surprise because he was in the lead with no one challenging him,
I thought he was going to win the race. I thought he was going to win the race in the silver category, but no, he pulled himself into the pits. So Raymond Aguilar, we're seeing it on board right now, ladies and gentlemen. Raymond Aguilar from the US of A is leading the silver class race in race 2 of round 3 in Portimao, hosted by ERGP.
Wow, what a turnout for the books this will be, because we saw just now how Aguiar was just so comfortable in the bronze class and he finished on the podium twice. So really then, he could have a trifecta of finishing positions on the podium in one round in 2 different classes, where he was second in the first race in bronze, third I think in the second race in bronze, and now second race in silver. He'll have a win, so he has a trifecta of finishing positions, and all the while then with other drivers also benefiting, including Oliver Betzmere, who will get his first podium of the season, and Nico Sage, who will increase his gap to the front of at the front of the championship by a significant margin. I think we can safely say, even with drop points taken into account, he has one hand on the trophy here in silver.
And with 1 round remaining, if Nico Sage keeps his composure, finishes in P3, I think this is a championship done and dusted in silver category, Amo. Am I correct?
Might be, but again, I just only go for the safe option of saying that he has one hand on the trophy, and with 5.5 minutes left to go, anything can still happen. It could still befall the same way as what happened to Sharik. He might just need to come to the pits.
Yeah, we can't jinx it too early though. I'm really rooting Nico Sage to win the championship though. He's very talented, quick, and determined. Paul Faustino though up to P2. Alistair had a mistake there, so Alistair dropped down to P4, which is very strange. Sun Idudu is now catching the back of Paul Faustino, and looks like we're gonna have a battle for P2 in the final 5 minutes of the round 3 race, Amo.
Indeed, round 3 race 2 here for gold and silver. After this, it will be the last round of the season. So this is the penultimate round. And if anybody wants to make inroads in the championship, it has to be done now. And for the likes of Alif, with both his chief championship rivals, Inigo Anton, and amazingly, Axel Nocom, who's also in the thick of the championship fight, not here this weekend, this might just be the one race that will actually help him reclaim the ERGP title that he has won. Well, last one eons ago. It was in Season 3.
Season 3, that was like, what, 5 editions ago, wasn't it? It was yeah, it is 5 editions ago.
It is.
Yeah, so we're in Global Edition Season 8. We've done this 8 times in the last 2.5 years. And Alif, though, 3-time winner in the Global Edition, looks like he will be winning this race and will closing the gap to Inigo Anton and Axel Nocom. Raymond Aguilar, though, P4 overall. What has happened to Alistair Young?
Oh, something wrong there with Alistair's car. He might have actually peeled up to the pits, or he might have actually pulled into retire. So, disaster then for Alistair, who was looking for a good result for this one. And unfortunately, that has gone up in smoke. So really then, second place in that first race is good haul of points, but he would have loved to have more points in the second one. So, unfortunate for the Malaysian driver, he has to pull it out into the pits. Now then, P2 and P3 overall and in class, this is between Sonny Du and Paul Faustino. So Philippines versus Australia, and it looks as though the Australian has the bit between his teeth here. He is up to the back of the Filipino's car, and it looks as though it was a bit squirrely there coming out of turn 11, Afiq.
Yeah, it does. San Ido there. I think probably he has. Remember the lockup that he had in turn 5? A couple of laps earlier when he was trying to overtake Alistair? Maybe that's why. Maybe he locked up his tires again, and now the tires are almost dead, which is not what you want, because you have 3 minutes remaining, 3 laps remaining, given the fact that Alif is 20 seconds up ahead from the battle between these two, and San Idu has to play the patient game.
Well, I was actually referring to Faustino because Faustino looked a bit squirrely, but yeah, you're right as well. Edu seems to have troubles trying to actually get up to the back of Faustino, but having said that, Faustino's car looks a bit more of a handle compared to Edu's, and thank God for that, because we at least have a battle to look at here in the closing stages of this race. 2.5 minutes left to go, and it looks as though it's going to be a foregone conclusion, a bit of a formality that Alif, on his return back to the championship after a couple of weeks away because he was on vacation last time out in round 2 for Silverstone, comes back and takes it here to take the fight to Inigo and Axel for the final round of the championship. That'll be quite interesting to look at with the race being announced very soon. We'll keep an eye out on our socials for that to happen as we look at a battle between P2 and P3 here. And it looks as though it's a bit evenly matched at the moment, Afiq.
It is a bit evenly matched. Look at that, the gap now is 0.8 of a second and 0.7 of a second now. And San Edu has 1.5 laps remaining before he can make the final push and snatch P2 from Paul Faustino. Paul Faustino, who has to defend, he's got, again, 1.25 laps remaining before he crosses the line in P2. Alif, though, let's jump on board him. We haven't shown him much. Oh, I'm sorry, it's actually 1.5 laps now from Alif, so they've got 2 more laps. Alif has gotten 1.5 more laps. So Alif sitting on a very comfortable victory there, will cross the line in P1. Paul Faustino though, 0.6
Yeah,
of
it
a
looks-
second gap.
Yeah, 6/10 of a second, and Edo's actually lost it a bit here that time round. So Faustino's might have been given a wake-up call that he knows that the car is coming and he has to defend his position with all his might here. And it looks as though that was a bad exit for Faustino. He's gotten Edu right up his rear end, and Edu will not make the same mistake again as they have a back marker to go by. Well, that might be Francis Angelo Gonzalez, who's been struggling this race. Or is it? That might just be somebody else, but I hazard to guess that might be Angelo Gonzalez.
Yeah, that might be Angelo Gonzalez. I might be wrong though. Look at that. Paul Faustino, they're being held up by the back marker, but diving down the inside coming to turn 5 though, has to extend from San Edu. He's got 27 seconds remaining, 1.5 laps remaining for him. Alif though is pulling away. The gap now is 22 seconds, so Alif sitting comfortably will cross the line again. Will win the race again with a 22-second gap to the next car in P2. But this time it will be Paul Faustino in P2 and San Edu in P3.
So let's see then, where is Alif in relation to them? Is he going to cross the line now? I think he is going to cross the line and take it to another lap, I think. So, one more lap to go. This next time by is the last lap, and Son Edu has one last chance at the bite of the cherry to overtake Paul Faustino here for a unlikely podium, shall we say, because we thought for a second that after he ran wide, nearly hit the back of Alistair, he might have lost it because of the tyres, but it looks as though he has saved enough of those tyres to actually fight on this last lap, Afiq.
Yep, 3/10 now the gap between San Edu and Paul Faustino. The back marker being in the middle of the way has to move out and give the position. Look at that, Paul Faustino, right front tyre on the sausage curbs. That's round about San Edu now a little bit further back to dive down the inside coming to turn 5 and more.
That was Zikri actually holding up Son again. So Son Edu not having the best of luck with the traffic. So the rubber to green is definitely on Son Edu's side. But for how long? Because look at that. There's another back marker right in front of them. And that is... No, that's not Alan Drake Cruz. I think that is actually Michael Farrens by the looks of it. Because that is Formula 90 car. It is Michael Farrens. So Farrens and Chris Coe will come in the way between these two. This might be problematic for Son Edu. Edu encounters the first of the traffic and gets by. So Alan Drake Cruz then has a terrible race too. That might not help his championship one bit. Michael Farrens goes wide. Oh, he actually blocks Edu. That is it. That might just be the end of the battle for P2 there. But Alif will come across the line here and take a double at Portimao. An absolutely superlative performance from the Singaporean. Now we have to go back to that battle for P2. Will it be a conclusion that will be in favor of Son Edu or Paul Faustino? It looks as though Paul Faustino might actually get. Yep, he has actually sealed the deal. So second place for Paul Faustino and third for Son Edu. So that's your podium in gold.
Okay, and there's silver right now.
Yep, and silver right now. Raymond Aguilar though coming into turn 12 for a little bit squirrely there, and race leader in silver class. Raymond Aguilar had a bit of a messy race in the bronze category just now, but looks like he's sitting comfortably to win race 2 in the silver category. So it's very refreshing for Raymond Aguilar to win this race.
Igor there takes the win. Bert Smile will be in second, and Nickel Sage will come through to third after just overtaking Aldo Bagulan on the last lap. So good recovery drive for him. But let's go on board right now to talk with Muhammad Alif. Nickel Sage, yeah, he's got one more corner to go. He's going to go. Oh, we just got to watch this one more time as he goes across the line. Yes.
Oh, Aldo Bagulan gets the inside line. Look at that, Nickel Sage. Aldo Bagulan spins. Aldo Bagulan coming out of the final corner. He did a full 360, 720 there, 1080 there. Aldo Bagulan.
Yep. So Bagulan there won't finish the race. Nickel Sage in third. But we have to talk with Muhammad Alif. Alif, double win. Not the hardest race I think you ever have to do, but you had to get the business done in the end with Inigo and Axel not here. You must be happy with that. Double win?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was hoping that they were here, but unfortunately they might have been busy with something. But yeah, still had to get the job done, which is the most important part. Yeah, pleased with the win.
Yeah, well, congratulations. That puts you right into the championship hunt. Where the round 2 you dropped that round, and they'll be back next round. So we look forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Okay, well that's the gold and silver class done. Good wins there for Muhammad Alif in gold class. Nickel Sage, extending his lead in silver. I think that championship is pretty much done for him. And of course, there he is finishing P3, but P6 overall in race 2. So it looks very good for him indeed. Your thoughts?
Exciting race in race 2, a little bit of a dull race in race 1, but it's expected because Inigo Anton and Exxon got missed out in the race, which is very unfortunate.
Well, they will drop the points from this round, round 3. They'll be back for round 4. That will be the decider for Global Edition 8. So you have to come back for that. We'll announce what track we're using for that on the Monday. Then they'll have, 4 days to set a time to get onto the leaderboard. And then, we'll be back next Saturday. Okay, that's Global Edition 8 done and dusted, round 3 done, and we'll be back for round 4 next week. My name's Alex Young, me, Muhammad Afiq, and we'll see you next week.